You're listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast network.
Come on, let's turkey try. Let's get it while it's hot.
You're listening to the Thanksgiving episode of the Dolphins Talk Daily Podcast with Mike Oliva and Ian Berger.
Good evening, Miami Dolphins fans. How are you today? And thank you for listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast, our annual Thanksgiving show here at DolphinsTalk.com. I am your host, Mike Oliva, joined by my partner in crime, my friend, someone I'm very thankful for each and every week, Big E, Ian Berger. Ian, how you doing today?
Happy early Thanksgiving, Mike, and happy early Thanksgiving to everybody who watches. Jordan, one of our loyal listeners and watchers, and hopefully everybody is prepared for a great Thanksgiving holiday and a fun Dolphins game on Black Friday.
Yep, and we know Hard Knocks starts, for those watching live. If you're listening after the fact, you don't care. If you're watching live, we know Hard Knocks starts at 9 o'clock. We will be off the air in time for you to watch Hard Knocks. That is our goal. We promise to you. So without further ado, we're going to get right into the show. No wasted minutes tonight. From the top, as always, a big shout out to everyone listening at finheaven.com. Everyone go to finheaven.com, the largest Miami Dolphins message board on the internet. Also, a shout out to our friends at the I Am a Miami Dolphins fan Facebook group run by the great and talented Carlos Hernandez. If you're on Facebook, please be sure you are a part of the I Am a Miami Dolphins fan Facebook group. And wherever you're listening to this podcast, whether Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, Podbean, Google, Audible, subscribe. We have shows each and every day of the week. We have you covered like no other outlet when it comes to audio and the Miami Dolphins. Subscribe. And if you leave us a 5-star rating and a positive comment, we will read it on the air. Now, Ian, I don't know if you heard, we had 4 since last week. And myself and Tom read them on the air on our post-game wrap-up show. So if you do leave us a 5-star rating and a positive, keyword positive comment on our Apple Podcast page, we will read it on our next live show whenever that falls and give you a shout out on the air. Also, one bit of housekeeping real quick for those of you who haven't seen or heard. Myself and Ian spoke last week about some things, and we want to do a little holiday fundraising thing from us here at DolphinsTalk.com. So we are help raising funds for the Toys for Tots program and also Feeding South Florida. And I put out a link on my social media page at Dolphins Talk on Twitter. It's on our Facebook page, and I'll put something up on Instagram as well. Ian retweeted it already. We will be retweeting this out a lot between now and Christmas. Anything you can give. We know times are tough because no family should go hungry in the holiday season, and no child should not have a toy in the holiday season. So anything you can give, it's all just monetary through their websites. It's no money. We never see a dime. It goes right through them. We got links to their website set up, and you give it straight to them. These are both very reputable organizations. Even if it's $1, every dollar is appreciated. And if you want, and I know some people like to give and not have any attention to themselves, but if you give to both organizations and just send me an email of proof at DolphinsTalk1977, we'll give you a shout out on the air because you're a good person, and good people should be recognized during the holiday season. So check that out. It's up on our website, DolphinsTalk.com, and we will be tweeting it out, putting up on Facebook and Instagram a lot between now and Christmas.
So you said Dolphins Talk 1977 at yahoo.com. Is that right?
Gmail.com.
All right. I didn't hear that last part. All right. Good.
Yep. Dolphins Talk 1977 at gmail.com. If you want a shout out, if you give to both, you can give $1 to both. We'll still give you a shout out because every dollar does help during the holiday season. Jeff, what's up? We actually used a clip from Jeff Harris from the same old Dolphin show with Josh and Aaron. That's up on social media. Jeff, you're becoming a star. Okay. Dolphins Raiders this past Sunday, 20-13. Dolphins escape with a victory in the game. That's a lot closer than any of us thought. Ian Berger, your thoughts on the game?
I think you made a very good segue into this one, Mike, saying that the Dolphins escaped with the victory on that one because the way that we played on offense, the way that we turned the ball over a couple of times, really, we should not have probably won that game. But I will tell you, our defense has definitely turned a corner. You know, to see Jalen Ramsey play the way that he played with his 2 interceptions, and that last interception is on a highlight reel for the National Football League. The way he jumped about 4 feet into the air and he sacrificed his body. He hurt himself at the end of that. Although he got up, ran around afterward, he's fine. But I think you said it best, Mike. Even when we win, we still should be a little critical of our team, because the fact is that Tua made some bad decisions, including trying to run, fumbling the ball. The coach, I don't know what happened to Durham Smythe. It looks like he's on the injury report, which I know we're going to get to. But Julian Hill, his one catch of the day, he catches it for 10 yards and he fumbles the ball. So we could not get out of our way on offense, but defense definitely showed up. And I think we were lucky that we were playing the Raiders and not potentially the Jets or even some of these other teams that we played, the Giants and some of these other teams, because that was a mistake-riddled game. Now, with that said, Mike, what I find to be absolutely fantastic is the fact that this was the worst game I feel that Tua has had this season when you look at everything from start to finish. But even with that said, he is one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the FedEx Offensive Player of the Game sweepstakes for this week with his performance. So even though he had the fumble, even though he had the interception, he threw for over 300 yards. He still, led the team to that great touchdown to Tyreek. So even it being his worst game, we still won, and he still is being recognized for it. So all good. Last but not least, can't go without talking about Jason Sanders. You had just talked about Jason Sanders last week, and he missed that 50-yarder, but then he comes back and hits that, 51 or 52-yarder. And I know he ended up with 2. My concern will continue to be Dolphins are down by 2. The end of the game, it's up to Jason Sanders, 45, 50, 55 yards. And man, we're all going to be praying when he does that, because you just don't know what you're going to get from that guy if it comes down to him. And there's nothing you can do about it at this point. You're not going to bring in a brand new kicker this
you could
season.
But he can't be any worse at this point.
It's a bigger gamble at that point, because if somebody's available, that means that they were not good enough to be on another NFL team. So it's it is what it is. But listen, 7-3, I will take that all day long. So that's all I got, man.
Yeah, I hear you. And a lot of what you said is true. And I'm almost happy that you say it, because I don't want to be the Debbie Downer on our Thanksgiving episode. And you never apologize for winning the NFL. You take the win. With that said, this was our worst game of the year. I think as a team, there was a ton of red flags. And, it's kind of red flags that, even in the wins, which I sometimes do on this show, I point them out all season. Yeah, we won, but. We have to clean this up. We have to clean that up. Well, it's Thanksgiving weekend. We haven't cleaned up jack crap. And it makes you start to wonder if we can clean it up, unfortunately. We're on the wrong side of the turnover differential. We're -5 on the year. We have probably the worst special teams unit in the league. Our punter really isn't very good. Our kicker can't be trusted. And we committed not 1, but 2 penalties on special teams, on coverage units. I mean, our special teams have been awful for years. And this year, and it has been great this year. Last week it was worse. Our quarterback now is up to 11 total turnovers. We've only played 10 games. You had 2 more Sunday. It's not great. And our play calling on 3rd and 4th and 1, it's almost laughable. It's ranked 31st in the league since Mike McDaniel took over last year. Once again, that's a fact. It's not hating. It's just stating a fact. Are these all fixable and correctable things? Yes, they are. When are we going to fix them? We've been saying all these things are issues since week 1. The defense is playing great. It's playing fantastic. It's hotter than a spoon in a crack house. This team is 7-3. Let's be happy, but let's also face facts. The narrative out there that we can't beat a winning team, it's true. You know why we can't beat a winning team? We turn over the ball too much. Special teams stink. Play calling on 3rd and 1 ain't any good. 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1. And and we can get by the Patriots, the Giants, the Panthers, and the Raiders overcoming those mistakes. When we play Buffalo, Kansas City, and Philly, we can't. So we'll probably beat the Titans. We'll probably beat the Jets twice. We'll probably beat Washington. But if we don't fix those things, and we haven't yet, we're going to probably lose or struggle versus the Cowboys, Ravens, and Bills, because that's who we are, and we have enough of a sample size. I can sit here and lie to you folks and tell you what you want to hear. And there are podcasts out there that do that. But that's just not my style. They have to fix. Look, there's no perfect team. But out of those 3 things, fix 2 of them at least. and it'll make life easier for us moving forward. But I don't know how. I mean, they've already had a bye. We've already played 10 games, and these have been issues all year. Special teams, it goes back to last year. 3rd and 1, 4th one play calling goes back to last year. We still haven't fixed it. Maybe we just won't. I don't know. But it's going to make winning in the playoffs really, really tough, if not impossible, when we're playing good teams, because we just make the same mistakes every week. And we're not playing Aiden O'Connell and Mac Jones and Tyrod Taylor, whoever the Giants had on the field that week. We're not playing the Panthers in the rookie court. We can make those mistakes and win. Against good teams, we won't. And that's just, I know it's a hard truth. I don't like saying it, but it's just is what it is. We have a sample size. That's what our
now we
team
have
is.
beaten 500 teams, Mike. We may not have beaten winning teams yet, but we have beaten 500 teams. So that at
I don't
least
know if that's anything to take
we're
a
kind of
victory
getting
lap
there.
about.
We're
Yeah.
kind of getting there. You know, no one can because look at. I mean, I know we caught Denver like right at the beginning of their
We caught them when they
their
were still
season.
struggling. Yeah.
and they were still struggling. I mean, now look at them. They are 5-5 now. So good for them, right? And good for us that we played them when we did. I don't know if any team really wants to play them right now because it looks like Russell Wilson is figuring his stuff out. Their defense is figuring their stuff out.
That just goes to show you how good of a coach Sean Payton is.
Yeah. However bad the Raiders were, they were 500 as well when we played them. Isn't that correct? Weren't they 5-5?
Yeah, but they had a lot of wins versus Jets, Giants, and Broncos when the Broncos were bad. So, I mean, look, I know. And I said at the top, never apologize for a win.
Yep.
But let's not put our head in the sand. When we play good teams, we don't win. And this is why. We just make the same mistakes pretty much year after year. I mean, the 3rd and 1 and 4th one play calling is honestly, I mean, I don't get it. We are second in the NFL in rushing, and we have no faith in our offensive line or running backs. When Mostert's having a great year, and our offensive line, even with guys out, have exceeded all of our expectations. What do you have to lose leaning on them on a 3rd and 1? Even if you don't get it, you got 4th and 1. Then throw your pass, or then try to run again. The odds of you getting a yard on 3rd and 4th and 1, running the ball twice, is very high when you're the second. We've been first all year. If it wasn't for the bye week, we fell back to second. It's like it blows my mind.
Listen,
he does sometimes.
I don't know if they've got Lusaka Polite's phone number, but he would be perfect. That's
anybody. Just give it to Al Kingold. I don't care who they give it to. It's a yard. Figure it out. It just blows my mind. But these are the things they have to fix. And if they do, they will go far. If they don't, they'll probably be out in round 1. I don't care where that game is, at home or on the road. They're going to struggle versus the Cowboys, Ravens, and Bills if they don't fix these things. That's just the fact. And I know people get mad at me. I'm a hater, but I don't know what some people watch every week. It's the same mistakes that bite them in the butt, and they have to fix it. Okay, we got news. A lot of news. Let's start with the big news that came out from Andy Slater, 640 South Florida Sports. Stephen Ross is in talks to sell a minority interest in the Dolphins and Hard Rock Stadium in the F1 thing to hedge fund billionaire Ken Griffin. Now, I know some fans say, minority interest, who cares? Well, here's why you care. This guy's worth $35 billion with a B. And, you know, our last owner in waiting, Bruce Beal Jr., he's on the outs. He's still around, but he was involved with Miami tampering with Tom Brady, cost us a draft pick. Look, it wasn't just him alone. A lot of blame to go around, but he was in the center of it. Cost Miami draft picks and got our owner suspended for half a season last year. So a minority interest to this guy might be your next future owner in waiting down the road. The NFL is aware of the sale. I think this most likely, this guy ain't buying a minority interest just to say I own, 8% or 10% of the NFL Miami Dolphins. He's buying it to say 83-year-old Stephen Ross, who had a succession plan in place. I want to be your new succession plan in 3, 5, 10 years, whenever it is. On this guy, Griffin, loaded. He's been described as a Gordon Gekko type. Some of his comments in the past will make you uncomfortable. He's one of those guys where I'm rich and being rich is good, and if you're poor, go screw. That's essentially who this guy is. He turns 55. He just turned 55 years old. He's a founder of the Citadel LLC and Citadel Securities, total hedge fund guy. Born and raised in Daytona Beach, Florida, 1968. So I'm guessing he probably grew up a Fins fan, as that was the only NFL team in town when he was a child. Went to Harvard, been married twice, been divorced twice. In a famous interview, Griffin said, "The rich have too little influence in politics. Got him in a ton of hot water." He feels any American should be able to give unlimited money to any political figure. That got him a ton of hot water. He has an art collection worth over $800 million, and he just bought a $45 million mansion in Coral Gables last year. So this guy, he could buy 5 NFL teams with the money he's got. I think This is a long-term play for him, obviously. And for Ross, he gets a bunch of money now to sell whatever percent when the team's winning at a high point, and he can hold on to the team for as long as he wants. And when it's time to sell, he's got this guy ready to go. That's where I think this is going.
Yeah, and I'm not so. I guess we didn't know what we were going to get with Bruce Beal. I guess we found out what we were going to get with Bruce Beal, somebody who tampers, right, and to try and improve the team. Which again, and trying to improve the team, I understand that
it's not all his fault.
I know
he was in
the
center of it. Yeah.
I guess we won't know unless we actually see it in process or in progress. Stephen Ross is the kind of owner who's hands off. He wants to hire people that he thinks knows how to run an organization, and he doesn't care about spending the money to be able to do that. He has spent the money to make Hard Rock Stadium into this multi-sports venue, which is really truly, and I'm not being a homer, it is a world-class venue.
It's an
for
event
football,
center.
for everything.
Yep.
And he put $1 billion of his own money. He did try and get taxpayer dollars. The city said no, and he said, okay, I'm going to do it on my own. Yep. So you don't find too many owners that will do that. You get some owners that threaten to leave and move somewhere else. But he didn't do that. So I don't know what we're going to get with a new owner. Hopefully that's not for another couple of years. I know Stephen Ross is not getting any younger. But hopefully Stephen Ross gets what he has always wanted, which is a championship for the Miami Dolphins. Because I think if that were to happen, he might want to be able to sell it and be able to say, all right, I've done everything I've wanted to do. I'm going to sell it to whoever, and I'm going to live the rest of my life without having to worry about this. So, but until it actually happens, we can't talk about what he's going to say, what he's going to do.
I have no idea. No, we just know about his background, sort of. Just sort of sharing some of that. And like I said, if this guy ends up in 3, 5, or 10 years with the team, he's got enough money. That's never going to be an issue. It's more of, is he going to be like a hands-on Jerry Jones type, or is he going to be a hands-off type? So, which, who knows? Until he has the power, we don't know. But yeah, just something to keep in the back of your head, because I know as soon as this story broke today, it came out through back channels that Ross is not looking to sell, blah, 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 which is true. He's probably not. But look, there's a long-term
play.
It's a
step.
You don't have to be Scooby-Doo here to solve this mystery where it's going down the line. We all kind of know where this is headed. Hard Knocks, 9 o'clock tonight in 45 minutes on HBO Max. Check it out. I don't know if the show is going to be newsworthy. If it is, I'll probably be back on at 10 with like a live recap if it is. But knowing Hard Knocks in recent years, it's kind of goofy, lame, and boring. I don't know how this is going to. I know as fans of Dolphins, we're going to be enthralled in it. I just don't know if it's going to be, you know what I mean, Ian? I don't know how much meat's going to be on the bone here. If it's going to be lighthearted and light, or are we going to get, oh, I didn't think that was happening behind the scenes. That's something we're talking about. We don't know. I got a feeling it's going to be lighthearted.
I think you're right. I think what we also are going to see is, a different side of Coach McDaniel when he's behind the microphones during press conferences. He has to be like, he can't use 4-letter words. He can't be animated like that. But we already saw today with a slight clip of him in front of the team in the meeting room, where he probably used a couple of different words 5 or 6 times in an extremely short clip. So I have a feeling we'll see a lot more of that throughout the team, which, this is how these guys talk. So I hope that hopefully that doesn't make anyone have a different opinion of the guy, because that's how football players talk.
Hey,
right.
I've been in the locker room after games before. I've been lucky enough to have that access. I've always said, and it's one of those things where you kind of don't talk about it if you're there. People's eyes would be shocked if they heard what was said, they heard the conversations. And now this show does give a little peek behind the curtain. And I think for some people, there's going to be a surprise that, as we see these guys with their helmets and their pads on and everything, but most of them are just so young. They're kids. They're millionaires and they're worth zillions of dollars, but they're kids at the end of the day. And they're worried about video games and they're talking fast food. And then you got the other guys who know they might be at the end of the line. They're just hoping that they don't lose their job and they can keep getting that paycheck as long as they can, because they know life after football might not be easy. So you're going to see a wide range. And I think people's eyes are going to be open. They shouldn't be turned off by anything they see, because I often say this, the Miami Dolphins, like every other NFL team, if you're out there thinking that they got this, so close family atmosphere, oh, kumbaya, they're not. They got their little squabbles behind the scenes that nobody knows about. They got people, their little cliques that nobody knows about.
And
We're
they
just
have
like every other
coaches.
NFL team.
They got coaches that are really hard, and then you got coaches that are a little softer.
Yeah.
And you're going to see the difference. Yeah, exactly.
And every team's got that. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. We'll comment on it more once it happens. And again, if there's some meat on the bone here, something newsworthy, I'll pop on live right after it ends, and we'll talk about it. But I have a feeling it won't be. And if it's not, then Josh and Aaron are going to talk about tomorrow night on their show. So that's kind of where we're at. Because I had a conversation today with Josh about how we're going to cover this. And that was kind of what we sort of agreed on. Salvon Ahmed out for the year. He's on IR, season-ending foot injury. Unfortunately, Dolphins will thin at running back right now because De'Von Achane re-injured his knee a few plays into the game against the Raiders. When asked about it earlier this week, Mike McDaniel really gave no info. Said he could play Friday, he might not. Well, geez, thanks. That really narrows it down.
Although he was limited, he did not practice on the which I know it doesn't mean much, but
it means nothing.
Yeah.
I have a feeling this, and you tell me if you think I'm wrong. He's going to miss at least a couple games, at least a couple. I think that's number one. And would I be shocked if they even held him out to the playoffs at this point? No. But I think he'll miss a couple games because it sounds like, look, if it was so minor, he either A, would return to the game, or B, on Monday, Mike McDaniel would have said, odds are what he said he might not. Leaves me to think, look, I know I'm guessing. I know. I just have a gut feeling he's going to be out at least a couple games. And we'll see, though. Who knows? But here's the deal. Now you're leaning on Mostert, Jeff Wilson, and until Achane comes back, I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, they added a guy to the practice squad today, but I've never heard of him. I don't know if he's any good. And if nobody else out there to really sign, you could poach someone from another team's practice squad, which is how they got Salvon Ahmed to begin with. We'll see if they do something like that. I don't know. But if
somebody mentioned Myles Gaskin, but Myles Gaskin did re-sign with the Minnesota Vikings. I saw recently. I want to say a week or two ago.
Yeah, really no interest in bringing him back.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what they do if they make any moves there. And if they do make a move, they'll probably give you some foreshadowing into Achane and how long they think he might be out. If they don't make a move, he'll be back in a week. Maybe.
So I'm gonna go a little different way here, Mike. I actually wouldn't be surprised if Achane plays on Friday. And here's why. Coach said that he could have gone back into the game on Sunday, and they just chose to take a very cautious approach, which this team is known for taking a cautious approach. But he was on the sidelines. He still had his pads on. If it got to an emergency situation, I think there was a possibility he could have gone back into that game if necessary. So it sounds like there was nothing structurally wrong with him. He just got landed on in an incorrect way. So we'll see. We'll see how this plays out, tomorrow and Thursday. But there's a possibility that he could end up playing, knowing that we're a little slim at that position right now. And let Mostert. My daughter was with me. She calls him Mustard. Have Mustard go into the game, start the game, and really be the main guy. And then for a change of pace every now and again, throw in Achane, throw in Jeff, right? And I think that's how they'll play it on Friday.
Yeah, I think this means a lot more work for Jeff Wilson. Even if Achane plays, I think they're going to limit his work, obviously, because they want him, and they don't want to see him get hurt again. So I think this means more of a workload for Wilson, regardless if Achane plays or not. I think Wilson's going to be integrated more. Now,
one thing too, Mike. One thing. I think at this point, we've come to the realization that if they put any players on IR from this point going forward,
it's going to be tough to bring them back.
I think that players is the team is saying this guy can't come back this season because they only have 2 spots left, right, to come off of IR.
And you got to sort of save one.
Right. You have to. So
I know some people today were talking about Chris Brooks, and I'm like, look, I like Chris Brooks, but you want to use one of those spots on him?
Yeah. Eric Ezukanma, running back. Right. Would you
Eric Ezukanma, I think, is out for the year. I think he's out for the year. Okay. And plus they traded. And plus they made that trade for Chase Claypool, even though he's hurt. I think that was the sign that Eric
he might not come back. And then you got some offensive line, right? I don't know if Wynn's ever going to come back.
Well, Wynn seems very unlikely.
Yep.
I don't think Robert Jones went on IR though.
Nope.
Could be wrong.
He did not.
So yeah, and here's why you got to hold on to it. God forbid, like when Tyreek Hill left the field this past game, all fans of Dolphins were. Because God forbid it's something where he's got to miss a month. Well, you want to have one so he can come back. God forbid something happens to 2. He's got to miss a month. We want to have so these last 2, you might just don't want to use them. So guys who are on IR, I don't know if they're coming back. And if Lester Cotton's playing well, even if Wynn's ready, it's like, well, Wynn, sorry, pal. we're okay without you right now. So I don't know.
Heal yourself. We need you. We'll need you later.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll need you some other
So
time.
we'll see. Talking about some other injuries here. Robert Hunt. Now it was a walkthrough today, so Robert Hunt was listed as a did not practice. Wednesday's the day for him. If he practices on Wednesday, full participant, good chance he'll play. If he doesn't, I probably wouldn't expect him to play. And more Liam Eichenberg at right guard. Lester Cotton was listed with a hip injury, and he was listed as limited in the walkthrough. So hopefully that's nothing because offensive line depth is getting thin as it is. Robert Jones is probably still out. Smythe was also listed as did not participate for this walkthrough. Again, Wednesday we're going to know tomorrow on Wednesday, or if some of you are listening to this on Wednesday today, when that injury report comes out later in the afternoon. If guys like Hunt and Smythe are listed as did not participate or even limited, the odds of them playing are probably slim because the game's on Friday. So there's not much more time here. And Lester Cotton, that's also one we got to watch now. So, yeah, there's that. Now, Ian, every year on our annual Thanksgiving Day show, you and me list the things that we are thankful for. And we go back and forth. And I'm going to start this one off.
Okay.
No, maybe you should start it off, I guess. You should start it off. Start us off with a nice thing you are thankful for.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm thankful, obviously, for my wife and my two girls. I'm not going to say that they allow me, but they
tolerate.
I guess that's the right word, but they tolerate, my Dolphins fandom, and they fully participate. My youngest daughter went to the game with me on Sunday, and my wife's been going to many of the other games. When my oldest daughter comes down for college, she's going to go to probably the Dallas Cowboys game with me.
Oh, nice.
So it's special for me because I know as my daughters get older and they move out of the house, that's going to be less and less to be able to spend time with them. So I'm thankful of my family.
And I'm thankful for that Patriots fans now are more excited about the NFL draft than the NFL playoffs.
That's so funny. What am I thankful? Well, I am thankful for this show, Mike, for you and all of our listeners and all the guys that put their blood, sweat, and tears into making shows and writing articles. This is such an amazing outlet for us, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate everybody out there.
Yes, we built a nice little community and family here, both internally with our staff and with all of our listeners and followers. I know I don't like to talk numbers on the show, and I won't, but I did share some numbers with the guys earlier this week internally, and it's just amazing how much we've grown and how many people actually read our work and listen to our shows. It's great. But Ian, I'm also thankful that it's Thanksgiving for Josh Allen and his family, because it's the one time a year they can have a turnover and enjoy it, whether it's an apple turnover, a cherry turnover, or any type of turnover for dessert. So to Josh Allen and his family, enjoy your turnovers this week. One, I knew you would.
That's great. I love that, man. I am thankful of Mike McDaniel, and I think I may have been thankful for him last year, but the man has changed. It feels like the man has changed the culture of the Miami Dolphins, and it makes all of us as Dolphins fans, or the majority of us as Dolphins fans, enjoy watching this team, enjoy listening to him speak, and enjoy seeing what these guys do each and every day.
I'm thankful for the Bills Mafia for keeping the fine people at OSHA employed with all their complaints.
Nice. I am thankful for Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio joined our team this offseason, and we had gone years and years and years with a defensive head coach and a defensive coordinator, and we couldn't seem to get things right. And finally, as a team, our defense is looking like a top 5 defense in the NFL. And I am thankful that Vic Fangio is here and helping us do that.
I'm thankful it's Thanksgiving because for Jets fans, it means your season and your misery is almost over. You have any more?
I got one more, and I'm just going to say I am thankful for the Miami Dolphins. I am 49 years old. I've been a fan of this team for over 35 years. And I'm going to work every day, it feels like this season, with the skip in my step, happy that we're winning. 7-3, man. That's just unbelievable. And I know a lot can happen between now and the end of the year, but to be at this point, I'm thankful that we're at this point.
Yep. And I am also thankful that NFL referees have a good health insurance plan with vision included because they all need new eyeglasses. So I'm thankful for that. And in closing, like Ian said earlier, we are all very thankful here at DolphinsTalk.com for everyone who listens to our podcast, who reads the written work we put up on our website, and who support us, whether on social media or who just listen and read our stuff. We are very thankful for you who have supported us. For some of you folks, I see a lot of people in our chat tonight who have been in our chat each and every week for years. I mean, some 5-10 years. So thankful for all of you who constantly support us here at DolphinsTalk.com.
My last thing, actually, Steven.
I saw that in the chat. Yeah,
Steven from Daytona.
Yeah.
By the way, he was really excited about the Daytona thing. Thankful of Manscaped. I have never had such a well coiffed body in my life. Thanks to, I'm not going to go into details. Y'all can
leads into
see the pictures.
That leads into our promo. Today's show is brought to you by Manscaped.com. Everyone go to Manscaped.com. Use that promo code DolphinsTalk. Save 20% on your order and get free shipping. Folks, it's the holiday season. Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Go to Manscaped.com. Use a promo code DolphinsTalk. Save 20% and get free shipping. If you need stocking stuffers, need something for your husband, or if you just want to spoil yourself during this holiday season, they have great products like the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. Yes, 5.0 Ultra. If you're into shaving down there and need to keep your boys all nice and clean. Also, they got body wash, shampoo, deodorant, cologne, you name it, they got it head to toe. Again, why pay full price at the supermarket for shampoo and body wash stuff you use every day when they will ship it to your house for free? And it's like a 20% off coupon when you go to Manscaped.com. Use a promo code DolphinsTalk and get free shipping. Check it out, Manscaped. Now, what time we got here? We got a half hour. Perfect.
30 minutes.
Right on schedule.
Yep.
Let's play Jersey Guy, Florida Man. And this is, I say Jersey because the Jets are from Jersey. Okay.
Okay.
And everyone knows the story. If you've been listening all year, we just, I give you two stories. You have to guess which one happened in New Jersey because our opponent, the Jets, are in Jersey, and which one happened in Florida because we all know pretty much anything can happen in Florida. And I played this with Allie on Thursday night last week. She got it wrong. So she's 0 for 1 on the year. She was close, and her logic was on point, but she did lose. So 0-1, Del Freaky. Here we go. Story number 1. A criminal on the run, wanted for fraud, was busted when she walked into a sheriff's office and asked to be hired. A former postal service worker was on the run for crime when she applied to work at the county sheriff's office. She sent in paperwork to be a security guard at the law enforcement agency. She was called into the station under the guise of a job interview, and then she was arrested. And then when she was arrested, they found she had more stolen credit cards on her, and she was also hit with more credit card theft charges. So, story number 1, that's it. Story number 2. A man was arrested after allegedly pooping on a dead possum in the middle of rush hour traffic. The man was picked up around 5:30 p.m. after he was seen dropping trow in the middle of an intersection and laying a log on the doubly unfortunate possum in full view of the motoring public. The defendant was observed defecating on the deceased possum with his pants lowered and his anal region exposed. Per a police affidavit. Story number 1, did that happen in New Jersey or Florida? Story number 2, was that Florida or New Jersey? No Googling. Play along in the chat if you want, but if you Google, don't put up an answer. Ian, what say you?
I want to give everybody just 20 seconds to post it in the chat before I give my guess, but pooping on the possum.
And yes, there's possums up in the Northeast. Trust me. I live in Syracuse. We have possums.
David, Florida.
He might not be wrong. But I won't do that to you.
We got Jersey, Florida. JM has to recuse himself because he actually knows this one. He was involved.
Is he one of the people? Was he the pooper, JM?
Okay.
Poopy. Look at Chris's comment. That's great.
Poopy's on Jersey.
I love the logic some people use here playing along. That's why this game is great.
You know what? I was originally thinking 1 Jersey, 2 Florida, but I'm gonna go with Chris's logic, and I'm gonna say 1 Florida, and pooping possum is Jersey. So what do you say?
Ian, you should have stuck with your with your gut. Story number 1 was New Jersey. Let me get the details here. The fugitive busted.
Oh God.
Applying for Zamaya Johnson, 27, a former postal service worker in Jersey City, was on the run for a crime in Monroe County, Pennsylvania, when she applied to work at the Hudson County Sheriff's Office. According to the Jersey Journal, she sent in paperwork to be a security guard, like I said. And then they said, wait, who applied? Because of course they're going to run her name on a background check. And she was out there for 10 bench warrants so they arrested her when she thought she was going in for a job interview. So if you're a fugitive out there on fraud and who hasn't appeared in court when being asked, don't apply for a job at the police station because they will run a background check on you and say, oh yeah, come in, we'll talk to you. Story number 2. This is just from November 19th. This one's a recent one. I got a recent one here. The Florida man was arrested for pooping on a dead possum during rush hour traffic. Rudy Wilcox, 45, was picked up in Clearwater. By the
Clearwater. Okay, that explains it.
Look, Florida's Florida.
That's close to Daytona.
You're all getting lumped together in this group, Florida. This was Wednesday at 5:30. Last Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. Not only was he observed by other motorists, there was also a police car who saw the whole thing. So the cop was right there. And it was pretty much an easy arrest. When questioned, Wilcox denied the accusations and said the officer witnessed him doesn't see straight, according to the affidavit. But the police weren't believing him. Physical evidence was viewed at the scene, which corroborates the allegations alleged. Dude, they got your poop. So that's this week's Jersey guy, Florida man. Who's next week? We got
Washington.
Who we play next week? I forgot.
Washington. We're in Washington. I think,
Washington. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, Washington D.C. Might have a political spin to that one. We'll see what next week holds for Washington guy versus Florida man, or maybe I'll do Virginia. We'll lump in. It all depends how easy or hard it is to find a story here.
I feel bad. I feel sorry for people that just joined when we're starting to talk about pooping on possums. And
I feel sorry for people who join. Look, if you've never seen the show before and you're scrolling around on Facebook or Twitter or just on YouTube and you see me wearing this hat, you see us talking about this game and what I'm going to say later on about the Jets. If you happen to tune in then, you're probably saying, what the heck in the world is this show? I'm going to watch every week. And how have I not heard about this? Because we hear more than football. I mean, I spent 5 minutes breaking down a guy who's probably going to buy 10% interest in the team, but who might be our owner. We're all cursing out in 10 years. So this is we cover you on all bases here at DolphinsTalk.com every Wednesday night. All right, Dolphins, Jets, Ian, Black Friday.
Woo! Here we go.
Jets are a mess. Let's get back to football here. Let's go through some numbers here because this is eye-opening. Let's just talk offense. Total offense, Miami 1, Jets 30. Passing offense, Miami 1, Jets 30. Scoring offense, Miami 1, Jets 30. Rushing offense, Miami 2, Jets 23. The Jets offense stinks on toast. I mean, they are just horrible this year. And they've changed their quarterback, obviously, to Tim Boyle. Tim Boyle played his college football at UConn. Hit a whopping 1 touchdown pass at UConn. In the NFL, he's done virtually nothing. So Jets offense stinks. I'd like that cap. Just realized I'm wearing a turkey hat. Cap, man, were you stumped on that? Total defense.
What the hell is
this
that?
Shows how far this shows. Our chat room's on fire tonight.
I love it. I love it. I'm thankful of this chat room right now.
Total defense. And this shows how far Miami's come. Miami's 12th. Jets are 11th. Passing defense. Miami's 14th. Jets are 5th. Rushing defense. After the Dolphins gave up
Top
over
10,
200-something yards week 1 to the Chargers, Miami's rushing defense is now ranked 10th. Jets are 30th. And scoring defense, this is the one that really matters at the end of the day. Miami's 23rd. The Jets are 11th. So the Jets got blown out last week, but last week was a bad week for them, clearly. But overall this year, their defense doesn't give up a lot of points. And let me just give you some quick thoughts here, and I'll get your feedback. The only way Miami loses this game is if they give the game away, turn it over multiple times like they did versus the Raiders last week. I think this game, I know when Mike McDaniel wins the toss, he always likes to defer, get the ball, start second half. I get that, but there are certain games and certain teams where you can stray from that. This is one. Here's why. You get a lead on the Jets, you force them to play catch-up. What does that mean? You're forcing Tim Boyle to pass more than he wants. If Miami falls behind in this game, I don't care if it's in the first quarter, they fall behind this game, That gives the Jets the opportunity to just run the ball and punt, keep the clock moving, shorten the game, keep your offense on the sidelines, play the field position game, and then it gives the Jets defense, knowing now you're playing catch up, to pin their ears back and blitz. When we have guys like Lester Cotton, Liam Eichenberg. To me, if they win the toss, take the ball, score, and make them play catch up, or at least try to score, and make them play catch up. But pretty much the only way we lose is if we turn it over, give them a short field, make dumb penalties and mistakes, poor special teams, all the things I listed at the top of the show. If they make those mistakes, yeah, they might be in a dogfight. Because I know the Jets stink, but I mean, they beat Philadelphia at home.
Yep.
They beat the Bills at home, 2 teams we couldn't beat. They've got some wins. So you got to be careful with teams like this. And plus, they're a rival. They're going to be ready for Miami.
You know, and I was talking to my friend Manny Marino yesterday, and I said, if I were the Jets and I were game planning against the Miami Dolphins, I would try and have a run-heavy offensive plan. Take the ball out of Tim Boyle's hands, give it to Breece Hall. Breece Hall, you know, he was a talented running back. I don't know what has happened to him. You know, although he had a nice long run the other night.
A passing game, so it's tough.
And that's the thing. So if you start stacking the box, that forces Tim Boyle to have to throw the ball. But if I were the Jets, I try and establish that run as much as I can, try and get it out of Tim Boyle's hands. On the other side, their defense is really good, and this is probably going to be the best defense that we've seen since the Chiefs, and it was only a couple weeks ago. But there's only been 2 or 3 defenses that we have seen like this. And I know the Jets are not a winning team, but I think when you're talking about the defense, you're talking about a winning defense. And like, if it wasn't for the offense, you know, maybe they had Aaron Rodgers, maybe it wouldn't matter if they had Aaron Rodgers, but still, their defense is very good. So if I were the Dolphins defense, here's what I would do. I'd be blitzing 75% of the game.
Oh, they are.
And forcing Boyle to make some fast decisions, because the guy, there was a highlight reel I saw yesterday. 4 different teams Tim Boyle was on, 4 different interceptions. They were just bad interceptions, dude. So, you know, force him to make some real quick decisions. And if he is forced to make quick decisions, chances are pretty good that he's going to make a bad decision. And if you get the defense to put the offense in a good position, then you're not going to have to throw it out and have over 400 yards on offense, which I don't think the Dolphins would be able to do against the Jets anyway. So, but still, this is the Dolphins' game to win. I mean, as soon as they benched Zach and brought it and announced him, the line for the game moved from, I think, the Dolphins winning by 7 to the Dolphins 10. 7 to, and yesterday I saw it 9.5. Did it move to 10 today? 10. Wow. So, yeah. I mean, that tells you all you need to know, even though we were picked by 2 touchdowns to beat the Raiders last weekend, and we eked out a 7-point victory. But still, I think it's going to be a good game for the Dolphins. And yeah, it's not easy to play in New York or New Jersey, but I still think it's going to be a good game for the Fins.
Yeah, just, you know, all the mistakes I said at the top of the show, that's how you lose a game like this. 3rd and 4th and 1 versus this type of defense. If they try those weird sideways passes, just run the ball, get the yard. Maybe you don't get it. Maybe they stuff you. Okay, you live to play another day. If you try sideways pass, and next thing you know, goes behind the guy, it's a backwards pass, fumble. It's like that type of stuff. That's a recipe to lose to a team like this. And here's the thing too. I almost wish Zach Wilson was playing, because what we saw last year with that team is that team did not like Zach Wilson. Now, this year was a little different because they knew, look, not his fault he was playing. Something happened in the 4th play of the season. But they might be extra motivated to play harder for Tim Boyle than they were for Zach Wilson, because with Zach Wilson last week versus the Bills, they gave up. With Tim Boyle, they might try to see what happens. But, you know, Tim Boyle, just some stats in his NFL career: 3 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. He's only started 3 games ever, 2021. He was 0-3 in all of them. His completion percentage is only 60%. He's only thrown for 600 yards total in 18 games. You know, he's just not any good. But if a team can run the ball and they play good defense, if you give them points and you turn it over, that's how you can lose this game. So,
and let's be honest too, Mike, in the NFL this year, there have been plenty of conversations where opposing teams said, there's a brand new quarterback coming in, there's no way we're going to let them win. And then they go and beat the other team. So they can't take it lightly.
Look, we struggled versus Aiden O'Connell. We didn't struggle on defense, but it was a 7-point game versus Aiden O'Connell. Why was it a 7-point game? Because all the things I mentioned, we let them hang around. And they were dry. Look, I said this too Sunday when the game was being played. The Raiders, about 5 minutes left, pass on a field goal. They went for it on fourth down. If he takes that field goal, that last drive of the game where he gets picked off by Rams in the end zone, they're going in for the win. Okay, the Raiders should not have passed up that field goal with 5 minutes left. They should have took the points because they're going to get the ball back again. So, yeah, you got to be careful. Now, as we read what time we got. Oh, perfect. 15 minutes. We can wrap this up.
We're good, man.
Because it is time for...
It's now time for Mike and Ian's Fearless Predictions.
Now, here we go. It's time for the predictions. Black Friday, Dolphins at Jets, MetLife Takeover, MetLife Stadium on Amazon Prime at 3 p.m. The great Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit on the call. Jets Dolphins is a rivalry that goes back many years. And Ian, if you didn't know, according to a new Quinnipiac poll, 89% of Americans are satisfied with their lives. The other 11% are fans of the New York Jets. The only thing worse than New York Jet fans is New York Jets quarterbacks. Zach Wilson, Tim Boyle, Trevor Siemian. Good Lord, that's the worst quarterback room in the history of the NFL. Let's talk about Zach Wilson. I know he's not playing, but I wrote this rant before he was benched. Zach Wilson is what happens when women drink during pregnancy. All mistakes are fixable, but Zach, you aren't. A glow stick has a brighter future than Zach Wilson, and it also will last longer in bed too. But truly, the Jets season ended 4 plays into week 1 when Aaron Rodgers went down to injury. Oh, Aaron Rodgers, I've never been a good cook, but I know how to roast your ass. Aaron, you always have a lot to say, and you seem to have a lot on your mind. A lot of bullshit. Aaron, your ignorance makes my racist neighbor look like Albert Einstein. Your lucky intelligence isn't measured in negative numbers. I know. I kid Aaron. I joke around with Aaron. I know you're a deep guy. You like to think yourself as a deep thinker. And I have a deep saying for you. The truth will set you free. You suck. You are free to go now. So, and Jets general manager Joe Douglas, you are responsible for this mess of the New York Jets quarterback room. I know nobody expected Aaron Rodgers to go down, but you're responsible for not having any quality depth behind you. How do you live with yourself? Now, I've seen pictures of you lately, Joe, and it looks like you put on a few pounds. The stress of this season's really gotten to you. You must be an emotional eater. In fact, Joe, I don't know if you've heard, but Baskin-Robbins called me, and they said you weight them down to only 5 flavors. You fat, disgusting slob. And that joke is totally stolen from the great Don Rickles. So kudos to Don Rickles. But the Jets are a mess. Let's get to the game. The Jets are a mess, and it's fun to pick on the Jets and their team and their fans. But this game, well, I think Miami's going to win. I don't know if it's going to be easy. The Jets defense, as we said, they had a rough outing last week. They're still one of the best in the league. The running game, it's not awful. It's halfway decent. And if Miami falls behind the Jets, like I said, their defense can sort of pin their ears back and tee off on our quarterback and bring pressure on him to make his day not as comfortable as he would like. This game is dangerous. But the Jets don't have a quarterback. They have a head coach with no personality or brains. And they really aren't a threat to score a lot of points. Vic Fangio and the boys will have themselves a day feasting on the Jets offense and some backup offensive linemen. I think Tua, Tyreek, and Watt will make enough plays to move the ball enough to get some points on the board. Mostert will run for 70 to 85 yards, I'm sure. The only way Miami loses is if they really just give this game away with a bunch of turnovers. I don't see Miami scoring a ton of points on Friday, but I think they will score enough to win. So my prediction, off with one hat and on with the other, Dolphins 20, Jets 6. Stick it, Fireman Ed.
Nice. I love it. Look at you, man. You are on a roll, dude. I love it. It's so funny because my friend Steve is saying there's no Tim Boyle tape, so it's dangerous. Actually, there is Tim Boyle tape, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous if you're watching because it's so bad.
Don't watch when you're operating heavy machinery.
No, to your point, Mike, I think the Miami Dolphins have a far superior team overall than the New York Jets. I think they just need to stop making sabotage mistakes of themselves because they're the ones. Basically, same thing that happened in Kansas City and Germany. We lost that game because of the mistakes we made. We could have won that game if we didn't fumble up for a touchdown or, some of the other things. But our defense has stepped up in a huge way over the last couple of weeks. and I know our offense can come together. And I know if anybody remembers MetLife takeover last season, that was the year when Bridgewater, got hit in the end zone on like the second or third play of the game, and he got knocked out. We ended up playing Skylar Thompson, and he played a close game until that fourth quarter. And then Zach ended up beating us. But the Jets are a totally different team. They still got some defensive players. Like you said, Mike, I don't anticipate the Dolphins to score a ton of points. But on the other side, I don't think the Jets are going to score like a touchdown. I was talking to a Jets fan yesterday, and he echoed those sentiments. He said, I just don't see how the Jets are going to be able to move the ball down the field, number one. Number two, how they're going to be able to score touchdowns. So for me, I'm thinking, first of all, I think the defense is going to feast. I think seeing 6 to 8 sacks on Friday is probably something we'll see from the Miami Dolphins, and it's not normal that we see, but that offensive line for the Jets is bad. And then we might see a couple turnovers too. Again, force Boyle to make mistakes. And then the offense, just don't make mistakes. Don't make freaking mistakes, and we'll be just fine. So I'm saying 24-6. So 2 field goals is what we're giving up to the Jets. 24 points for the Dolphins. I think we'll score a couple touchdowns, and Jason Sanders will redeem himself with another 40-yard field goal.
I have a feeling too, just a hunch. Let's call it a prediction. Dolphins score on defense this week.
Yeah.
Just a prediction.
Yeah.
A little prediction. I could see that happening. But yeah, we're pretty close. I got 26, you got 24-6. So yeah, hopefully it's the Dolphins win then on to Washington in that game with Sam Howell. And look, we were 8-3 last year before everything fell apart. Let's hope we get to 8-3 this year and nothing falls apart. That would be the goal. And let's hope some of those mistakes early in the show. Again, folks, I don't say this stuff to be the negative Nancy, but we all want to see this team win in the playoffs. And until those things are fixed, it's just, I don't know how that's going to happen. And we got to really start fixing these things. It's getting late. We're going into December next week. It's getting late. We got to clean up some of this stuff. And hopefully we see the first steps of that this week with a lot of the things I mentioned, which I won't go over again. Ian and everyone, thank you for listening to today's show. Let me give you the schedule for the rest of the week because we got a bunch of shows. Even though Thanksgiving's on Thursday, we got a schedule. So we are recording this Tuesday night just before Hard Knocks. Starts in 9 minutes. Wednesday, we got 2 shows. I will be joined by Antoine Staley to break down the Jets and get some insight on the Jets. And then that'll be on Wednesday evening. We'll be live here on the Dolphins Talk YouTube channel. We'll drop the show right after it airs. And then Josh and Aaron, it's Jets week. And if you don't know Josh and Aaron on Jets week, they get a little salty. So the opening of their show will be not safe for work. But if you're a Dolphins fan and you don't have children around, and you're gonna love the start of the show. I think if you follow the same old Dolphins on Twitter, you're gonna see they're open. They tweet out a clip to remind everyone. So check that out. Thursday, there's not going to be a show unless like some huge news breaks because it is Thanksgiving and even I have a life. Friday, Tom is going to drop the pregame show, and myself and Robert Burns, who usually record on Thursday, but we're not this week. We're going to have a live show Friday morning. So we will have our Dolphins Talk matchup show Friday morning live, as well as Tom's pregame show. So 2 shows Wednesday, 2 shows Friday, and then Friday night, myself and Tom with the postgame wrap-up show after Dolphins Jets. So we got a bunch of shows in a short amount of time here between now and Friday. So check it out. Again, make sure you're subscribed to DolphinsTalk.com podcast network, wherever. Leave us a 5-star rating, positive review on Apple Podcasts. We will read it. And one thing in closing, I know, Ian, this is for you too. A big shout out to our good friend Danny Johnson. Hope he gets well soon there. I know you had a little bit of an accident, Danny. We love you. We're thinking about you. And have a great Thanksgiving. And hopefully you're on the mend and you get better soon.
Yeah. So I have a quick piece of information for everyone, because Amazon for the Black Friday game on Friday, they changed it up. It used to be that you can only watch the game if you had Amazon Prime, which was the membership that you pay per year. But now they're saying as long as you have an Amazon membership at all, it doesn't have to be. It's free for everybody. So for anybody who's like figuring out how do I watch this game, if you've got Amazon and you have a membership to Amazon, you'll be able to get this game for free.
Yeah, absolutely. And for HBO Max, I know that if you don't have HBO or Max, they do have a few things where you can sign up. And I don't know if it's a 1-month free trial or not, but I know you can sign up probably for like a month or so and not have to spend a lot of money if you don't want to watch Hard Knocks. So check that out. Everyone, thank you for listening to today's show. Have a great Thanksgiving. Eat a lot of food. Have a lot of fun. Let's hope the Dolphins win on Friday. Follow Ian Berger on Twitter at Ian693. Follow myself at Dolphins Talk. We'll talk to you again after a while. And when you're on the road this week, drive into friends and family for the Thanksgiving holiday. Please don't forget, let's put an end to highway profanity.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Fins up. Let's go win on Friday, everybody. Bye-bye.